Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the City of Sunbury Council meeting. It is June 4th, 2025, 7:30 p.m. Would you please join me in a moment of silent prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Call, please.
Mayor St. John.
Here.
Mr. Powell.
Here.
Ms. Strayer. Yes. Mr. Ghost.
Here.
Mr. Grumney.
Here.
Ms. Cooper. Here. And Mr. Martin is absent. 6 present. We have quorum.
All right. We did have a meeting on May 21st, 2025. Looking for a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve.
A motion by Mr. Grumney,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Ghost. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Grumney.
Yes.
Mr. Ghost.
Yes.
Ms. Cooper. Yes. Mayor St. John.
Yes.
Ms. Strayer. Yes. Mr. Powell.
Yes.
6 yeas, minutes passed.
We do have 2 visitors that are scheduled, and then we'll open it up to the public. The first visitor is Mr. Randy Rentz, and the next is Tracy Whitaker. So Mr. Randy Rentz is the chairman of the Charter Commission. They've wrapped up their work. He's going to give us a little bit of summary of how their work went and that he's passing the baton to us. There's also an ordinance on this evening for a first reading. It's ordinance number 2025.23, along with a corresponding summary document on page 139 of your packet. Mr. Rentz, welcome. Thank you.
Good evening, Council. As Joe said, my name is Randy Rentz. I'm with my address not for 840 Fox Creek Road here in Sunbury. And I got to serve on the Charter Review Commission as well as building the original Charter Commission. So thank you for that opportunity to serve the community. In your packets this evening on page 139, Mr. Darrell has provided a good synopsis of what we are recommending as change points in the charter. I'm not going to read those out to you. The charter review process starts in 6 weeks, and every week we have great session points on where we are now in Sunbury, where we're going to be in Sunbury, and what makes sense to change along the way, and how we're going to help the city grow and become even better than it is today. So through that process of 6 weeks, we have the following 8 bullet points of change points we'd like to see made in the charter to help Sunbury continue to grow and be what we've all come to know about. And if you have any questions, you have to answer. Otherwise, I'll pass them on to you.
Thank you, Mr. Rentz. Any questions for Mr. Rentz?
I don't have any questions, but just thank you to you and the team for going through that. As a tedious thing to do and quite a commitment to your city. So thank you for your time.
Any questions? No, sir. I want to say also thank you to staff for your support. It was a great team effort all the way around, a lot of preparation to get the Charter Commission prepared. We read through every single page, looked at what other communities do, and our charter has worked really well for us in the first 5 years. It was a logical step as we went from a statutory village to a charter city. And I think there was a lot of foresight in the original charter that said, hey, it's a good idea to take a relook 5 years down the road. And unless council wills it, the next review after this will be in 10 years. So this will go on to the ballot pending council's passage of this ordinance in July. And we need over 50% vote. Set the bar high in the first Charter Commission. I think it was an 80% passage rate. So great work.
I think we're in a good position too. It's not like we just start this whole thing. We just key points and just need a little bit of tweaking. We need to grow. First, we're going to the city. So from below 5,000 population, and we're sitting around 8,400. So and we continue to grow. We're going to continue to make those little steps and changes. So.
Mr. Hennessy, did you have anything to add? Mr. Bream, you were both very involved in the process.
No, echo the comments of Councilperson Grumney. It's a thankless job. I mean, they were here quite a few evenings. We could double their salary and wouldn't know. And what was reassuring to me through the process, number one, they were very systematic in their approach. It was a very thorough review, but it reinforced, I think, what a good job the first Charter Commission did. Because we did do some tweaks, there are some changes, some things that we needed to make, and we were 5 years into this process. But overall, we did a lot of reviewing, and what you don't see are the discussions that were had to come to the conclusion that, hey, we did it right the first time. This is what we want. And, you know, that was reassuring to me. So thank you to Randy and his whole group for that. And, I'm glad to answer any questions. It's nice you have the summary. You also have the full red line of all the changes. First reading, so I'll have 2 more readings. Glad to answer any questions you might have as it goes forward.
Such a good opportunity to get involved too, because from that group, we have now a new BZA member, I think, right? So.
We also, as a charter commission, as a city, we all agree that we appreciate the city's support, you know, providing Mr. Gray and Ms. Rebecca from Beckler. And then, you know, on different meetings, some of the council members were present to ask questions that review case law to see what made sense, of what are the others doing and what we can for somebody. So this is what we know.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rice.
Thank you.
Take care. All right, next up on the agenda is Tracy Whitaker from the Delaware Health District. I don't know that we've met in your person, but I received all your emails. Thank you.
Sorry. I have a very active summer, like I told you, I'm so happy to be here finally. Like I said, I'm Tracy Whitaker, I'm the public information officer for the health district, so all information comes from me, anyone can know. Well, I'm your partner now. I believe Mr. Hennessy passed out a couple of things. I tried to pick things that were directly related to Sunbury. We do have a mobile unit that will be coming, I believe. I can't think of the dates, but we have June date, we have a July date and August date for Udon Square. We also have WIC services available that would be in that mobile unit. And then the other item, sorry, I'm getting to the page for me. We are doing a survey to kind of find out how accessible food is to certain communities in Delaware counties. Sunbury is going to be one of those, and we're going to be at the Sunbury Community Library on July 7th. We're asking residents just to get an understanding of how they access maybe healthy foods or food in general. So if you buy food, if you sell food, if you grow food, we'd like you to come to that. The best part is there's snacks and supervision for child care, so like we're school age children, so that's a good thing. So, but I'd be happy to take any questions. Just want to introduce myself, make sure that you know that I'm your friendly contact.
I have a question about the mobile clinic. Do you serve the underinsured and the non-insured residents?
Yep.
Is it like, do you have a sliding scale for them? Okay. I've always want to share this, but I always want to know, like, my demographic. I want to make sure, like, I'm not inviting them to something they can't afford.
And we have a lot as well.
Okay.
I can give that to you, but yes, we do. It's
Okay.
sliding scale, and we do offer pretty vaccines.
Okay, thank you.
And we think your leadership is doing a great job, especially post-pandemic. I mean, the world has settled down a little bit in your sphere. I also wanted to let council know we are very well represented as far as their board goes. Tommy Hatfield, former mayor, is on their board. We appointed him a couple of years ago. And also a close community advocate, Pat Teaberry, also on your board. So very strong board. Excellent.
And the health department has been working with the farmers market, and some of the farmers market vendors are accepting SNAP. And yeah.
Excellent. Any questions, comments? Thank you for your service. Take care.
Thanks, Tracy.
All right, we're going to open it up to the public. Does anybody wish to speak with city council? Come on up. If you can come up, state your name and address, and give you about 3 minutes.
I live on where I live, and I live right off the square on the South Vernon Street. I have had an issue with my property, which I believe is being impacted by the city's, street or not maintaining the street correctly, allowing water instead of running off into the drains, sits in my yard. And, that water sitting has sunk my foundation in that one corner. So I brought this up April 2nd. I was just wanting an update on it. This is my neighbor Dennis.
Oh, Dennis.
I'm speaking my vocal cords are paralyzed, so he's kind of like my speaker. He's an expert on this anyhow. But anyhow, this is my neighbor Dennis Bowman, and he can speak more to it if you have questions.
Dennis, what was your last name?
Wellman.
And your address?
114, sorry.
Okay,
I've lived there since 2018.
Okay.
You know, raising my family there. So, well, first second son. Anyway, we share kind of have a joint driveway right between Molly and the farm there. So we're kind of at bottoms of Vernon Street right here. And then Laura's had some issues with like what the houses, it would be to her house to the immediate north of me, and then the next house north of there are settled inward. You know, former residents have said there was like a whole river that kind of flowed through there. So I don't know, you know, if that was filled in or what it was filled in with, but I just, you know, I work for a local business, family-owned business. We're celebrating our 25th year. We do all municipalities, state, you know, county work. I mean, we played the right up here across from the square. We're bidding on your new parking lot, it's a level paper. Yeah, so I have somewhat of an understanding. I don't know that I'm an expert. I shot some, you know, we do a lot of historical Brick Street, sandstone gutter, all this, you know, all over central Ohio. That's our specialty. And, you know, with urban growth gets torn out, our job is to restore it the way it should be. So I shot some simple grades. The street is higher than the sidewalk, so the water's just coming down the gutter and it's kind of diverting across the driveway approach into the sidewalk. I don't know if that's causing the houses to settle. I mean, it's quite visible. She had basement authority out. I know that the former residents that lived in her house also had it jacked up. They informed her that it's still moving. So if something's like, you know, it's kind of settled and it's one thing, but if it's moving, I guess that's a concern. So I went out there, shot some grades, and like, the water is diverting into your yard and it's going somewhere. It's not laying. It's out of it like that. And it leaves behind a bunch of silt. You know, it's currently our thoroughfare, you know, from the bike trail, which it's a lot of traffic. And, you know, we're sitting there on the front porch and we hear everybody coming to town. And, you know, it's a well-traveled, you know, sidewalk. And it's flooded. It seems to drain in 24 hours, but all of this pavement, we have, you know, the fuel lot, the city shed behind, I think it was the former state.
Yep.
Now it's like an old salt shed, which is directly behind my property. Everything that comes into this area, there's 2 catch basins at, in the back of the yards. And then there's like 3 or 4 in the road. To me, it looks like the road was raised at one point and it just kept raising. I've had, Bob, our neighbor across the street, said that at his house, we used to actually be above grade, and now it's the road is about 3 feet.
Give me 1 second.
Yeah,
We're on time.
Yeah, that's 3 minutes, so if you can wrap it up. Quick question for you. Dennis, right?
Yes.
How long has this been going on? I mean, you said you were here since 2018.
Sheds kind of across my property, like the state shed doesn't have gutters on it, it kind of comes through my lawn across my property, but she is directly at the bottom of the hill. And at the least, there's at the gutter, there is an issue. I can't comment, I'm not a specialist or an expert as to her house settling. But there is an issue and I mean, you guys should be made aware of this.
I am aware of the issue, at least generally, that you're communicating with staff, and I believe our insurance team is also involved. Mr. Hennessy, do you want to have Ms. Elliott connect with one of our staff members?
Yeah, Miss Elliott and I have had a conversation But yeah, I just wanted for the councils, we have begun the investigation. We have sent a camera down through the storm sewer system, just trying to understand. Our wastewater team's been out there, our engineer's been out there. So yeah, we've begun the city investigation. We're working with the city's insurer. At this point, we're waiting for the insurer to provide some response back. And I did indicate that to Miss Elliott. So that's where we stand at the moment. So pending the response from them, I think we'll then have the better sense of the next step. So, well, and I do anticipate they said they would have it to us in early June. We'll follow up on that. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for speaking with us. All right, next item on the agenda. Oh, excuse me. Is there anyone else that, Mr. Barry Bennett? Come on up.
Just hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. I'm not sure it's functioning this evening.
272 High Street.
Okay.
I'm not sure if this is for council or services, but it's a current event, so I thought I'd bring it up now. You guys all know how much I love trees. I've been evading some landscaping up in my building, and I noticed in my inspections that quite a few of the trees along the boulevard are damaged by mowers getting way too close to them. Some of them might be terminal. I don't know, but what happens is the bark around the base gets scraped off. It's probably goes back years, various services doing it. It could be even contractors for individual buildings that are doing it. My only suggestion would be to alleviate some of that, possibly, since I assume they're the city's trees, but maybe do some roundup around them so they don't have to get so close. And that would probably stop the damage where it is. The ones that are already damaged, there's probably nothing that can be done.
There's this Granville.
Granville and Burr, the trees along that long Granville.
The tree lawn.
Okay. Great line, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, some of them are pretty bad. A couple of them look recent, a couple of them don't. So it's been ongoing for years, I'm sure.
Look into this.
Okay.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Mr. Bennett.
Thank you.
All right, is there anyone else that would like to speak with city council? All right, next item is the committee reports. Ms. Dreyer?
I do have one quick point of interest. After attending the Delaware County Regional Planning Committee, there was only one, it was a very short meeting, but the most interesting thing to me, and I thought to us, would be there was an Amera family inside a township. They wanted to rezone 10.27 acres out in Ostrander. The proposed use was going to be a state-of-the-art self-storage indoor, outdoor area. And they wanted to go from FR1 to PC. And around it is single-family zoning and some wetlands. It was not supported because it was not in the comprehensive plan for this area. It actually is in a C2 district. Surrounding properties are C2, and that type of use does not fit into the C2 zoning. So they were denied, but they had set up, they had gotten a realtor involved and they were trying to put this on the market. I think it was pretty close to being sold, but it was denied. So that I think is really interesting, how you really need to find out the zoning of the property before you jump in and do it. So that was denied, and that was the most interesting point for me.
Thank you, Ms. Dreyer. Mr. Grumney? All right, Mr. Capel?
Yes, we had our services committee meeting prior to this evening. Most of it focused on 2025 streets program and the bid results that we had. So staff presented the base bid with some alternative recommendations. We'll go over that a little more later this evening. It is on our agenda for tonight. Decker was our low bidder, and if we can get it approved, they are able to start towards the end of the month this month. So that's good. Some of the other quick fires here, Walnut Street stabilization project is a little bit delayed due to rain and the need to pave. And as it so happens, the company doing that paving is Decker, who is looking to start it towards the end of June. Then wastewater treatment plant expansion is going to see dirt moving soon. I asked that we get notice when the more intensive work begins. We should probably get some questions from the residents when that picks up. And then fiber projects. So there's a couple companies looking to do some residential fiber work in the near future. This is not tied to the Sunbury fiber that we have talked about in the past with like the backbone and such. So they're looking to start doing some directional boring in some of the neighborhoods over the course of the summer. We're waiting on a definite schedule so that we can communicate on that. That's all I got.
Thank you. Mrs.
We
Cooper?
had a parks meeting earlier this evening. We talked about J.R. Smith. We haven't talked about that park in a couple meetings, so I was glad to hear that. The engineering design is about 30% done. They expect to be 90% done towards the end of the year. And Mr. Hennessy, Ms. Steph, and Mr. Bream have been working behind the scenes with our bond council, getting that all set up and ready to go. They expect the council, finance committee and council will start seeing stuff about that toward in the fall, September, October time. And likely we're anticipating realistically probably not seeing anything over there till springtime next year.
Like breaking ground, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
We also discussed the Johnny Appleseed statue that, he's getting a facelift. And we're sort of just in the process of deciding, like, do we want him to go back on the square, or do we want to maybe move him to Orchard Park? Seems kind of fitting to have Johnny Appleseed at the Orchard Park. But if we do, where are we going to put him? Do we want him right out in front? And could that be a distraction, or could that, but if there's some really nice spots on the inside, but does that feel like he's too secluded? Do we want to put him on the path? And then as the development across gets developed, he'd be along the path for that. So it's just sort of, we might even, I think, throw it out to the residents and see what they feel about it. We talked about that. That was mostly it.
Yep. Mr. Jeffs? Nothing to report. All right, I just had one item. We did have a zoning meeting last week. There was a lot split for Woodland Lakes. And also just wanted to highlight, it's on page 13 of your packet as part of the administrative report. It's the zoning report that building permits are 30% down year over year month compared to same time last year. First time since the pandemic that zoning permits are down. That's all I have. All right, next item, police report. Chief Howard.
Thank you, Mayor. Just real quick, I go over, give you an update on the cruiser upfitting. Cruiser number 2 is still at Bullet. We were over there today. They were telling us that it could be done as early as this week. They have asked about the third car. I spoke with Mr. Hennessy on that, and we're gonna send our stuff to PAR. I'm not sure on the supplies that they have over there, whether they're gonna let us get those or not, but we're gonna work on that tomorrow. The second item is with the officer in Morrow County. I just want to thank the mayor, council. I got a hold of the mayor, excuse me, when that happened, and he told us to do whatever we had to make it right up there to help them. So we did. So I appreciate that from you guys. Then I have your patrol stats on there. I'll let you look at those real quick. And if you have any questions on those, I can answer those. They're pretty self-explanatory. The speed sign data. The signs are currently, or for this data we have, we're at Heartland Meadows, Prairie Run, North Miller Drive, and Clover Street. 2 of those signs, the one at Prairie Run near 1 Oak Court and the Clover Street at Cape Breton did not collect the data. So we're trying to figure out why that happened, and we don't have that. The 2 sheets that I do have for you, though, are 2 weeks worth of data from North Miller and Meyer Drive. And that actually runs from 5/5 through, I want to say The second week started 519, so those would have just came down. I think it's safe to say we probably have an issue over there with speeding. Once the signs go back, once they come down from the next locations, we're gonna put them back on North Miller to see if it's school traffic causing us the problem or if it's residents. The other data is from Heartland Meadows Drive by GRE. It's not near as bad over in that area. But we're looking into that as well. That's all I have unless you have questions.
Got one comment. Actually, we've met with 2 or 3 people about the speeding on North Miller Drive. And they have wanted us to present to council. They want speed bumps over there. And they really believe a lot of it's because of the high school, but they're well aware of the speeding.
I think it's more than that. I think the road width.
That is another
It's a
problem.
newly paved road, high school traffic, teen drivers. It's complicated. What I will compliment you on is the amount of people we're pulling over is at an all-time high compared to any time post-pandemic. We're still issuing 65% warnings, and the complaints are going up because I'm getting the complaints, and that's not a bad thing because we have a complaint tracking system, and the chief and deputy chief, within hours are responding to these complaints. And I haven't gotten one yet where, we were in the wrong. So, people saying it was 35. No, it was 25. And there were 2 signs that you passed that stated that. So yeah, Miller Drive is it's going to continue to be a focus area for us.
Yes.
Absolutely.
We have a couple of old signs that they don't collect data anymore. They're like the first 2 we ever got that will still display a speed. I think at some point we want to put those in a school zone and maybe buy a solar panel to power them and just at least let people see, hey, this is your speed. You got to slow it down.
We may want to look at some of those permanent ones.
I said they don't store the data. They could, but they have to be taken down and downloaded. You can't do it wireless like we do the new ones. But we'd like to do something with them other than just sit there and collect dust.
It's good that you're obviously doing something about it because that 65% figure where you issue warnings is down from a historically 75% for many years.
Right.
So
We're pulling over. When you pull somebody over and then you pull them over again, you're not issuing a warning the next time.
Yeah.
Right.
When you're increasing the frequency. It's a lot. I say this all the time. 85-90% of the traffic in our city doesn't live here. They're passing through. So need to get our arms around it for sure. You guys are doing a good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Also want to just echo what the chief said. It's been a really tough week for law enforcement in general, week and a half. Obviously with Deputy Shear, there was also the Mifflin Township officer involved shooting, kind of a dual event. We had the first event and then they took the assailant in Obetz after hiding out for several days, I believe being harbored from what I've read. And we had the Marysville police officer involved shooting. So it's been a really tough week. Prayers to Deputy Shear, his family, his co-workers, some of our officers, our friends, and we're co-workers with Deputy Shear. And it has connections to the Sunbury Police Department, very close.
That worked with him up there.
Yeah. But your entire department is in our thoughts and prayers.
I will say, Officer Collins represented us well. He was a pallbearer. And he definitely represented us well.
Questions, comments?
thanks, Chief.
Next item on the agenda, the administrative report.
All right, just 2 quick items. In the report, I do want to call out the joint recreation district meeting, they will be meeting tomorrow night here in the council chambers. I've included in your packet a draft copy of the community needs assessment and market analysis. So that will be the focus of the meeting tomorrow night, hopefully to get their concurrence to go out, find a qualified consultant to begin that process. And so once that happens, we'll begin to engage the community in a systemic way to get feedback in terms of what do they want to see in a center and, what's the financial viability of that. So as that continues to unfold, I will let you know. And the other thing, which is not in the report, but I did just receive it today, the governor announced that the city of Sunbury received a $50,000 grant to assist with the updating of its zoning code. So we were one of, I don't know, 30 communities statewide, the only one in Delaware County receive an award. So the goal primarily is to spend that on the Sunbury Parkway District Plan, had several zoning designations in it. And so these districts need to be created, and that's really the impetus behind the request. So the total cost is going to run somewhere in the $70,000 range. So 50,000 of that and a grant from the state.
Good deal.
Any questions for me?
I don't have a question, but I just had a comment. I was happy to see this planning intern.
Yeah.
I hadn't had a chance to tell you. I think I told you I was reaching out to Mr. McDaniel and I was going to have coffee with him, and he was the city manager of Dublin for 30 years. And so I'm just like, hey, let's just have coffee. And so one of the things that he had said was the city of Dublin really took planning as one of their cornerstones. And he said that it was very often they would have interns come in, or they would just hire like a lower level for 1 or 2 years, and they'd train them and then they would move on. And I just had coffee with him, so I haven't had a chance to touch base, but I was like, hey, look at that, Mr. Hennessy.
How about that?
Yeah, so very cool. Yeah, I think that's the right step.
One of our interns attended planning and zoning last week.
Yep, that's
Hey.
Katie.
Very cool.
So, yep.
Ms. Odebrowski, the engineers report.
Good evening. On page 20 of your packet, my report is there. I have several items listed, but there are two that I want to highlight. One, Mr. Capel had mentioned the street improvement program. That is also combined with the Columbus Street parking lot. If you remember, we rebid that with the streets project in order to hopefully draw additional bidders, and we ended up getting excellent pricing. I know we're going to talk a little bit more about the first reading of this combined project. Yeah, 5 alternates. I can go through them so that you guys are a little bit familiar, but essentially the 2 alternates that are not being recommended are the best of the worst streets. And that is how we determine what we should move forward with recommendation wise. The other item on there that I wanted to highlight is that we're interested in doing some pavement preservation practices involving an alternate for, it's called asphalt rejuvenator. It's the equivalent of putting a lotion on your skin for the road to add the essential oils back into the roadway and extend the pavement life. So that was the extent of pretty long presentation, but I appreciate you guys and the support for those items. So if there are any questions that you have on the alternates, I can take those as part of this report.
Mr. Capel sells essential oils. Do you have an
I couldn't believe after I gave my report that I forgot to mention pedicure for the roads. Yes. Big deal. It's a great idea.
The terminology of wax and the drawn in some different.
I was with you.
Stemming the feeling your teeth.
Yeah.
The dental analogy. The other item in the report is the last item. There are also a couple of pictures associated with this. And again, I've got some positive feedback. You guys like to see some of the pictures related to what we have going on in the community for the East Greenville Street widening project. I've been mentioning this public outreach that is required for federal funding. That also is a great practice in order to invite and get feedback from the community. That is scheduled here at Town Hall on June 25th. That's a Wednesday from 5 to 7 p.m. 30 days minimum notification is required to go out to the residents impacted along the corridor. Those notices will mail to the people that live along the street that will be widened. We also have highlighted the project on the city's website under East Granville Street widening project under our business and development. So there are links in there that include the public notice that was sent out. And then within that is a link, which I've included in my report for structurepointpublic.com /East Granville Street. That is going to have all of the public documents that will be available at the meeting. I've just highlighted two of the pictures. In fact, if you scroll down, there's another one, but essentially I wanted to share that there will be 3 alternates we are taking to the public, and there will be different stations at this public meeting. I chose one of the alternates that shows, of course, the road widening, which is the purpose of the project, but also includes sidewalk on the south, or I guess the west side of the road. And then a shared use path that would be elevated and connect to what will be that pedestrian bridge that goes over 37. So I just wanted you to have an idea of what these documents will look like. The one that's shown right now is that aerial view. It is highlighted in a way that shows impacts to the properties. So I know it looks small on your screen and on your paper. At the actual event, we'll have road plot laid out, hopefully some markers if people want to show us where they may have concerns, dog fence, whatever it may be, and they can then identify their property alone. There are little houses along the way that have the house numbers to help oriented. And then just looking at the pink lines, that's going to indicate the city's right of way. And then we'll be discussing with residents in the future what permanent right of way or easements are needed as we work through the federal process and work with the residents that are in that. So if you scroll up again, sorry. This shows the cross section, which is going to basically give you some of the worst case retaining wall options for at least in this situation, again, the 7-foot sidewalk that's adjacent to the roadway, and then that 10-foot elevated shared use path. Just a rendering that kind of get people thinking about where the path will be elevated, where it actually will be grounded. We'll have more information as we move forward. We are currently in the preliminary design phase. So of the 3 options, none of them have been chosen. We do have recommendations, and we'll be talking through with the community pros and cons for all of the alternates, cost benefit analysis as well. And then the design team, American Structure Point, will move into final design for a chosen alternate. So this is alternate 2 that I shared in your packet. Again, there are 3 of them. Just with different cross-section road with sidewalk, no shared use path. Sure.
So maybe just to clarify, everybody in the city can attend the public hearing. You don't have to necessarily have received a notice. All the businesses and property owners along the corridor have been notified in writing. And then I think there was additional outreach done to each neighborhood.
Say my household received a letter, inviting us to this, and then it also gave opportunities to submit feedback. And I was just, I don't remember. I know the paper, because I shared it in the neighborhood Facebook group, and the paper had the Sunbury logo on it, but I feel like the envelope didn't. Because I remember, and it didn't even have my name, it just said current resident, which is fine, but I feel like it wasn't, but like something about it, I think maybe you could see through it, you could see like a Sunbury logo or something, but if we have control over that in the future, maybe we can add the Sunbury logo to the front so that folks know immediately, at least it came from us. They still might not read it, but it was hard to, because I was like, I don't even know what this is. And then I was like, something about it did trigger me to open it, but I know the form had Sunbury logo on it.
They did get mail from our consultants to the mailing list in the area that was recommended. That's something you can look at moving forward. This will not be the only public meeting when we go into construction, when we start talking about scheduling and people will want to talk about traffic impacts. There will be another future meeting. So
Yeah, if there's an opportunity, I think to put Sunbury on the front, that way folks know this isn't spam.
Question, Carla, does this project include the design, construction and installation of the bridge? And is Preservation Parks involved in the design of that?
So for the green funding, we included the pedestrian bridge as one of the items that we would look at here in this design. However, there has been some previous work that was done by Bergantis, CT consultants, to look at the pedestrian bridge and impacts to get that in play. I know Preservation Parks has some exhibits, so they are aware of this. We had a meeting with them maybe 4 to 6 weeks ago at this point, just to touch base with them, make sure they're aware that there's public notices going out, and we will let them to be involved in these discussions.
Okay, good. Yeah, I know they've been.
Yeah, so yes, the bridge, the pedestrian bridge is a part of this project. I think what Carla is alluding to is that there has been some work done in terms of connecting the bridge on one side of the road, not the other side of the road. We do need to do some more work with some property owners as it relates to that. But Preservation Parks has been well advised about this. They've been an active partner with us, and they will continue to be.
Okay, good.
Yep.
Shared, looking for that. The Ohio Department of Transportation will be in attendance, the design team and as many staff members as I can.
Nancy and I will be there.
Well attended event.
Any other questions, comments?
I have another comment. It's unrelated to this, but I thought it was very cool that at the Sunbury Farmers Market, I don't know when, it's last Saturday, maybe or the Saturday before, Verdantis was there. Daryl was there with some Safer Streets for All
Daryl.
stuff. And he was
Another brother. Yeah.
Other Daryl?
the other Daryl.
So yeah, that's the Safe Streets for All project. They're continuing to do just a little bit additional public outreach on that.
Yeah.
We're getting close to being ready to show some preliminary recommendations.
Yeah, I thought that was a great idea. And he didn't know who I was. I was in like sunglasses and a hat and just kind of came up because I had friends and I was like, what's going on? And he explained it all and people were able to put stickers on the projects that they felt were important. I mean, I was just like, this was great outreach. So
Awesome.
well done, engineers. Yep.
Thank you, Ms. Odebrowski. All right, next item on the agenda, resolutions, third reading, resolution 2025.04.1. A resolution authorizing the city administrator to enter into a revised intergovernmental agreement in relation to the joint recreation district. This is just revised language related to some comments that the village of Galena added.
Yeah, just wanted to clarify that that no party. This relates to funding the operations of the JRD itself. It's not the facility that ultimately gets, built, whatever the case might be. It was just clarifying the fact though that when that happens, you can't exit the JRD until you've paid your fair share. So you can exit if you want to, but you still have to make the payment. That's what it's trying to clarify.
We're looking, I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Go second by Ms. Cooper. Discussion, roll call.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mr. Gross, Mr.
Yes.
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
6 yeas, motion passes.
Our next item on the agenda is second reading, resolution number 2025.12. A resolution authorizing the execution of an intergovernmental agreement with the Delaware Soil and Water Conservation District. Resolution number 2025.13, a second reading, a resolution establishing a special revenue fund, reading only. First readings, none. We're on to ordinances. Third readings, ordinance 2025.18, an ordinance approving the final plat for Price Pond subdivision sections 4 and 5 and declaring an emergency. I'm going to make a motion to table.
Second.
A second by Mr. Capel. Discussion. Mr. Hennessy, we're waiting some information from Price Pond's Pulte team.
Yeah, so we hope to have this ready to go at the next meeting, but we do have some outstanding issues. You may have recalled that we did ask the applicant to attend at the last meeting. They're still doing some work as it relates to tree clearing and restoration issues out there. We just want to make sure that we get that fully documented before we ask council to approve the final plats. And we are actively working with Pulte to do that.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Ghost,
Yes.
Mr. Ayers.
Yes.
6 yeas, motion passes.
Ordinance number 2025.01.1 first amended, an ordinance amending the 2025 annual appropriations. We need this to pass this evening. It's third reading. We don't need an emergency, just a passage. Any questions? Would
I'll
anybody?
make the motion.
We've got a motion by Mrs. Cooper,
Second.
second by Mr. Ghost. Discussion. Roll call.
Mrs. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Ghost,
Yes.
Mr. Grumney,
Yes.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Ayers.
Yes.
Mr. Capel?
Yes.
6 yeas, motion passes.
Right, we have a second reading, ordinance number 2025.19. An ordinance creating the Woodland Lake Tax Increment Financing Incentive Districts, declaring improvements to the parcels within the incentive district to be a public purpose and exempt from real property taxation, requiring the owners of those parcels to make service payments in lieu of taxes, establishing a municipal public improvement tax increment equivalent fund for the deposit of those service payments, and specifying the public infrastructure improvements that benefit or serve parcels in the incentive districts, and declaring an emergency. And we are looking for a reading only. First readings, several. Ordinance number 2025.20, an ordinance awarding the contract for the 2025 City of Sunbury Street Improvements Project to Decker Construction Company and declaring an emergency. We are looking to move forward on this. Couple of items. First, we need to amend. It would be my recommendation that we amend the ordinance for a number not to exceed $2 million. It's somewhere with the contingency right around 1.983 million or thereabouts. This includes the base bid, which is the Columbus Street parking lot, several streets that are alternates, including the Rejuvenation, Vernon Street, and I'm missing one.
Police parking lot.
The police parking lot, which is very necessary and is also going to include some, I don't know, right now, basically the pavement for the street matches up with the pavement of the parking lot. And so people cut through the parking lot and think it's the road. There's going to be some sort of deterrent or bollard or something that we're going to install there. All in all, it's around 1.88 million, Mr. Bennett. But I would make services, I don't want to speak on behalf of the chair, but I was part of the meeting. Services felt good.
I would say we recommended that package.
Recommended the package, so. Do we need to make a motion to amend the ordinance first?
Yes.
That follows the bidding process too, right? Decker was the lowest and appropriate bid.
Yes, they were, yeah. Thank you for mentioning that. That should have been point number one. Number two, if we pass tonight, they're able to mobilize by end of month, which is good. So I'll make the motion to amend the ordinance language with a monetary value of not to exceed $2 million.
Second.
Second by Mr. Capel. Discussion. Roll call.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Mr. Capel?
Yes.
Mr. Air?
Yes.
Mr. Ghost?
Yes.
Mr. Grumney?
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper?
Yes.
6 yeas?
Then we're looking for a suspension, emergency and passage.
Motion to suspend the rules.
We got a motion to suspend the rules by Mr. Capel,
Second.
second by Ms. Dreher. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Capel?
Yes.
Mr. Air?
Yes.
Mayor St. John?
Yes.
Mr. Ghost?
Yes.
Mr. Grumney?
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper?
Yes.
6 yeas?
Motion on the emergency?
Got a motion by Mr. Capel, second by myself. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Capel?
Yes.
Mr. Air?
Yes.
Mayor St. John?
Yes.
Mr. Ghost?
Yes.
Mr. Grumney?
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper?
Yes.
6 yeas?
Motion on ordinance number 2025.20.
Got a motion on ordinance number 2025.20 by Mr. Capel, second by Ms. Dreher. Discussion? We'll mention that this is the largest streets program we've ever done. We've set that record, I think, 4 years, 5 years in a row now. And investing more in our infrastructure and in our streets, and this is a big one. I mean, with the vibrancy of the square and parking being a premium, we're gonna add quite a few parking spots, including golf cart parking right across the street. So this isn't just your run of the mill streets program, and it's around a $2 million investment. So kudos to staff and council for that. Roll call.
Mr. Capel?
Yes.
Mr. Air?
Yes.
Mayor St. John?
Yes.
Mr. Ghost?
Yes.
Mr. Grumney?
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper?
Yes.
6 yeas, motion passes.
Next item on the agenda, first reading ordinance number 2025.21, an ordinance authorizing the execution of a development agreement between Romanelli Schrock Road Investments LLC and DR Horton, Indiana LLC and the city of Sunbury, and declaring an emergency. This is a reading only. We do have the applicant here, Mr. Olin. Did you wish to say anything with city council this evening? Hello, sir, and welcome.
Since I drove up here, I'm Jim Owen with Roman News, company with a driver from Westerville. No, I think it's a pretty simple, just cleaning up the development agreement that was already agreed upon. I think the only change was just some foresight into looking at the extension to the sanitary that's going to go from Cheshire Road up to the new Sunbury Parkway. But other than that, I appreciate staff, all their work, their time, back and forth for me, so.
Great, thank you.
And so maybe just to build on that a little bit, so this does include funding from the developer to do the Cheshire Street or Cheshire Road pump station. You know, we've selected the contractor, so the development agreement here basically outlines the payment that we'll receive from them. As Mr. Olin indicated, this does have the added benefit of getting a leg of the Little Walnut Creek Interceptor extended by the developer. We'll pay for it ultimately, but they're going to do it as a part of the project. So that's an important step. Well, just there had been a transportation or traffic improvement or impact study done, and it does include a fair share payment to the city as well. So there's a lot in this that really is beneficial to the city as well, in addition to helping move the DR Horton project forward. So we're introducing it this evening, hoping that council could get comfortable with it for action at the next meeting. So if you have questions between now and then, please let me know.
Questions, comments? Thank you, sir. Thank you for being here. All right, next item on the agenda, ordinance number 2025.22, an ordinance approving the final plat for Eagle Creek subdivision section 2 and declaring an emergency. It's a reading only. And the last item on the agenda related to ordinances, first reading, and Mr. Rentz and Mr. Hennessy, Mr. Bream spoke to this earlier. Ordinance number 2025.23, an ordinance approving the proposed amendments to the City of Sunbury, Ohio Charter as recommended by the Charter Review Commission, and directing the Clerk of Council to certify the same to the Delaware County Board of Elections for placement of the question of the charter amendments upon the November 4th, 2025 general election ballot. It's a long run-on sentence. To be submitted to the city's electors for final review and approval.
I have a question. I know in the review, they have a 10-year, it'll be the 10-year gap. if future council in 6 years is like, whoa, so much has changed in 2025, we never saw this coming, we definitely need it earlier, can the council at that point request an earlier review?
Yeah, I mean, council can always actually make recommendations to changes to the charter. But it does actually, and this was one of the discussions, did add some language that basically says not more than 10 years. So at some point during that period of
So I
time,
know Delaware does 8, it just feels like
Yeah.
a long time with like technology and just everything is changing so quick. 10 years feels really far to me, but I'm fine with that if the future council can say, whoa.
do something. Yep. I think that covers it.
No, I think
probably.
I'm okay, yeah. I just didn't want to be locked into a 10
Yeah,
years,
sure.
that just felt really
Understood.
long.
Yep.
Mr. Hennessy did put together a summary document. It's on page 139. I would direct you to that. And if maybe I could just highlight one particular item in my opinion, the most substantive change, and you may wonder where I stand on this. I've talked to several of you about this, but it was early on when I met with the Charter Commission, and I had made the recommendation to move to a city manager form of government. So now we are a council administrator form of government, and we currently are in a very unique situation where the police department report directly to me, the chief reports directly to me. That does cause a couple of concerns, and this is through my lens, being both a member of council and the mayor. I mean, from a budgeting standpoint, yeah, there's somewhat of a disconnect. I think we've done a really good job because of the really good people that we have on city council and the great staff. But where the rubber meets the road and the biggest pinch points are, first of all, I have a full-time job, and it's where we have, very serious police involved situations that require immediate mobilization. And at least the way it's currently working with my personal situation is I'm able to call work and say, hey, I can't be there. I really try to remove my own self from this situation when making that recommendation. But when you look at other municipalities in our area, I mean, New Albany, Westerville, Dublin, anyone outside of like the city of Columbus, and I would never recommend that we go to that form of government. Every other city is represented through a city manager form of government. And I think it's the time we make the change. Obviously, the Charter Review Commission agreed with that recommendation. There's more to it than what I just said there, but that's the lion's share of the issue. I think it adds a lot of protection for the city going forward. Any questions? All right, with that said, Mr. Hennessy, is there anything else you'd like to highlight?
Yeah, just if you have any questions about the summary, let me know. And if I need to pull Randy in, we'll do that, but we'll get you the answers that you need.
Great, thank you. All right, next item on the agenda. New and unfinished business, Ms. Dreyer.
None.
I don't have anything.
Nothing here.
A movie on the square Friday night, and there's a fishing derby Saturday morning, so summer has hit Sunbury.
That's it.
Nothing here, sir.
Said a couple things. Number one, a couple weeks ago, the first farmers market, huge success. My goodness. And then follow it up with the Memorial Day celebration. I mean, that was honestly, it was amazing seeing how many people were out, both for the market activities on the square, but then the memorial service. I know Mr. Grumney, I saw Mr. Hennessy there. I'm sure there were several other people there, but we do it right for sure. And the people leading those organizations, it's not necessarily led by the city. I mean, we facilitate those events to an end, but these are volunteer organizations that just do such a great job. And I'm really proud to help lead the city. Thank you. All right, with that said, our next meeting is July 2nd. And please keep Dave Martin in your thoughts and prayers, if you would.
Will July 2nd create a quorum issue? Again, I know
No,
Mr.
not
Ghost
be
is
here.
going to be unavailable.
I'll be gone for the one following, but I'll be here for this.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's right up against the 4th, so, okay, looks like we're in good shape. If others are going to be absent, let me know and we'll adjust accordingly.
Please keep Dave Martin in your
Yeah.
thoughts and prayers. I know he's having some issues, so please pray for him.
We'll want to keep that in mind too for the parks meeting.
Yeah, agree.
Excellent. All right, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Second by Mrs. Cooper. Discussion. We're on the dot. Roll call.
Mayor St. John,
Yes.
Yeah.
Grumney,
Yes.
Mr. Ghost,
Yes.
Strayer,
Yes.
Mr. Capel,
Yes.
GAs, we have adjourned.
Thank you.